right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Evan Lukadakis, your Government Relations Manager. And today I am really thrilled and honored to have Jefferson Parish President Cynthia Lee-Sheng join us, and Aimee Vallot, who is the Director of Inspection and Code Enforcement. And we're just going to go over a few key details today that you all really need to be aware of. Cynthia and her administration have been doing a phenomenal job at the COVID-19 response. They have expanded testing areas in Jefferson Parish. They've stood in line for hours passing out masks. They've supported our healthcare workers and honored them. So they've all been doing a phenomenal job with the council and all of Jefferson Parish staff. So Cynthia, I'm going to turn it over to you if you'd like to give us an update on new developments and things that we need to be aware of at the moment.
Yeah, so thank you, Evan, and we really appreciate this opportunity to be here. I'm here with Aimee Vallot, and she's just one of our directors, and you know everybody's familiar with her with inspection and code enforcement, and just to show that we are open in business in government. We've been that way since this has started. We have been able to re-engineer how we deliver our services. So I wanted to later on give Aimee a chance because I know so many people work with her department. But you know, as so many of you know, in Jefferson Parish, we were hit, and we were hit hard. We had some of the highest per capita rates as this thing ramped up, higher than the state of New York. If you just look at the Jefferson Parish numbers and the Orleans numbers, we weren't as high as New York City, but we were certainly as high with the numbers, but per capita, we were right there at the top of the country. And really as a state in Louisiana, we're still in the top 10, even as parts of the state have come down and are starting to get on the downslope of this bell curve. We're still in the top 10 of the United States. So it has been nothing but coronavirus in managing this. And it has been, what I say, literally global, but global in the sense that it has affected every part of our lives and certainly every part of government. But one of the really great things that we have been able to do early is testing. And we have been able to have some of the highest per capita testing rates in the country as well. It started with a federal pilot program. Jefferson Parish was one of the very first pilot sites, 2 sites in New Orleans and our Ilario Center site. And to this day, we still hold up the Ilario Center site testing 150 people a day. So that has been really great for us. LCMC worked with us to start a mobile testing site in Marrero, which we found that community has been really the hardest hit. So on that site, we were able to open for 3 days last week. And Ochsner has been a great partner for us. Yesterday, we were in Gretna doing a community site in Gretna, and I just got back from that site, moved to Kenner this morning near the North Kenner Library and Mus Bertolino Gym in that area. And we just got back from making sure everything went smoothly there. There was a line of people this morning there. We found that these are really smooth operations. So as you can see, we're working with our medical care leaders. We're working with our school board. We're working with our sheriff's office. The council has been very much on the front of this as well with feeding programs and mass distributions. And they've set up task forces, 11 different task forces to really see how government is going to deal with this coronavirus until the end of the year or even beyond that, from a budgetary concern, from elections, from getting back to work, all of those things. So again, we have been very busy, but Jefferson Parish has tested over 28,000 of its citizens. One of the newest things that Ochsner was able to talk to us about yesterday, we're going to partner with them on what they're calling a prevalence study. So they're taking, trying to get a sample of 2,500 people that mimic Jefferson Parish residents, whether it's age, race, or different neighborhoods, trying to get a good sample of what Jefferson Parish on a miniature scale looks like. They're going to do testing for the antibodies as well as testing for the actual coronavirus. So we really have an idea of how much this virus is in our community. Of course, if you have symptoms, you go get tested, but as time goes on, they've seen that there's a lot of asymptomatic people carrying this disease, and we just don't really have a good feel for that. So this prevalence study is going to really give us an idea of where the virus is and how much the virus is in Jefferson Parish. So that was a good partnership we're doing with them. And then I also wanted to go over the JEDCO plan, Evan, which was it's going to be very critical for your membership. It's a wonderful guideline. It's this back to business plan. We worked on it with the chamber, with the with JEDCO, with our council offices, and with different members of industry. And they've given this document along with, probably a good 7-page different one-page checklist for all the industries, because no matter when we're able to get to phase one, and the governor is going to give an update on Monday as what our next steps are going to look like. Now is the time to plan for that. And certainly that's what we're doing in government, is planning for what we look like when we bring more employees back, and what we look like when we start bringing the citizens back. So that's a general overview, but I know you might have more specific questions. But this is the time for people to start getting their supplies, understanding what the office place looks like, spacing out people, looking at wiping down, frequently touched surfaces, doorknobs, having the soap and the PPE and the masks ready. So every business looks different, but now's the time to start preparing for that. Right.
And I just want to point out, we had our CEO, John Luther, who, he contributed to the plan. So we're very thankful that he was a part of it. And I just kind of want to break it down a little bit because, thankfully, the home building industry, we've been lucky to be considered an essential service and a part of critical infrastructure under the governor's plan. So we've been allowed to operate, but we've, of course, been keeping our social distancing practices, hand washing. So we've tried to been maintaining that. And, we've suffered heavily through this region, as far as cases and deaths and just, economic loss too. So I know we're all eager to move forward and get this behind us and get the economy here working again. And I just want to break down a little bit the different phases of this reopening. So there's the 14-day benchmark that we're about to meet. Am I right? That we're able to then begin the phase one reopening.
So, you have a couple of different plans. I think our governor is going to generally follow the White House plan. So the White House plan had put out, opening up America again with the different phases. And there was gating criteria with that. So you have to meet certain benchmarks before you go to the next phase, which largely related to, how many cases, how many people were showing up at hospitals with symptoms, and generally revolved around making sure the medical resources could keep up with the demand. But what we've seen is that if the last time with the May 1st extension, the governor extended it to May 15th because he did not feel like we were ready for many reasons. For contact tracing was one of them as well. We didn't meet that gating criteria to go to phase one. I think today, actually, the governor is supposed to announce an update on contact tracing. And that's why we really need the support of the state. A lot of people are saying we should go back parish by parish. And certainly, as much as I would like to do that as well, there's another part of me that says, other states in this country are moving at 5 and 6 states at a time. And where we live, we go back and forth between parishes. So many of us, individually live in one parish, work in another parish. So certainly in the greater New Orleans area, there's so much back and forth. I think if a parish by parish approach would be very, very complicated, it would be more confusing to people. So at the very least, we would say, a regional approach. And I don't know what the governors will look at, and I think the data will drive that. But the contact tracing is so key to it. And as we get to phase one, the testing is so important. So that's why this prevalence study is very critical to us, so that we in Jefferson Parish really know where the virus is. And as we get to phase one, we're able to continue testing a lot so we can really be on top of it. So if we see a hot spot in one neighborhood, I'm able to call a minister and say, I need you to do a social, push with me, get out with me. Let's really get very targeted neighborhoods to get on top of it as quickly as possible. But yes, we're hoping to get to phase one soon, and that would greatly open up what we're all looking forward to is the hair salons being open again, right?
Yeah.
In the
I need a
barbershop.
haircut.
Yeah, exactly. We're all needing a haircut. Retail has been open this whole time, but actually, phase one would probably let people go into the stores. There's questions about, what the capacity would be for restaurants, what would bars be able to do, what would youth activities and sports and all of those many industries. So I hate to say what's going to happen because I don't know if the governor is exactly going to follow the White House criteria. I think it's a general guideline, but he might hold an industry back, or he might let an industry go that might not be, consistent with the White House. So I hate to get ahead of him on that, and I really don't know, but we look forward to the announcement, and we want to be ready for that because we know how critical the economy is. And Evan, if I can say at this time, we want to really stress that people have been putting off medical care for a long time. There's been a reluctance to go into the hospital. There's been a reluctance to call the doctor because people are afraid. But now, the medical community has gotten through the really hard part. The people in the hospitals with coronavirus are not nearly as many as weeks ago. And so what was non-critical a couple weeks ago and you were putting off is soon going to be critical. So we want to encourage everybody, if you normally go see your cardiologist or you normally go get your checkup, to re-engage in that process, because as time goes by, you don't want to get to be a critical patient.
Right. So the name of the game going forward is testing and tracing. So to be able to move forward, we need to do that. And just to clarify, so it is ultimately up to the governor to really lay out the phased opening, correct?
Well, right now we're at the governor's stay-at-home order, and I know there's a lot of legislation moving. I don't know what the legal, differences are on that, and I think, but right now, as we stand, we're waiting for the announcement for the governor on Monday. He committed to giving us, the path forward, and so we certainly, anticipate and look forward to Monday and hearing what he has to say.
Okay, very good. Well, moving forward, hopefully, as home builders, we can help lead the economic recovery. I know you like statistics and data. So, from every 100 homes that are built, single family homes, it generates around 4 million taxes and government revenue, about 400 local jobs. So, we're hoping to help lead the way here. And I know of your commitment for home building in Jefferson Parish, particularly with the Terrytown Revitalization Project, and we're trying to get that moving forward. We're currently in the bidding process from I'm aware of, and I know we have Aimee Vallot with us. And Aimee, if you could just tell us, how has inspections and permitting been operating in Jefferson Parish? I know you've been fantastic at communicating with us in our group and keeping us apprised of any kind of developments. Is there something that you would like to let us know?
We're going to let Aimee come up here.
Okay.
Trying to maintain our social distancing as well.
Yeah, good.
Well, as you know, we've been on with my permit online now since 2014. So the great thing about this program is that our impact is minimal when it comes to issuing permits, doing inspections. Everything is done online via my permit now. So we really, pardon me, it's been a seamless, transition to right now. We're not seeing people in terms of coming to the front desk or things of that nature. And we're going to continue working that way for the foreseeable future, because ideally, I think that if it's possible for you not have to come into a government building to get your tasks done, and it can be done easily over the internet, it certainly will help. However, in the event that you don't have access to online capacity to a computer, we'll still have a kiosk at each of our East and West Bank locations to assist those that may need a little help on that. And we'll have a series of permit techs who can assist in triage with things. But my hope is that since we're completely online, it'll speed our process up in terms of being able to issue that permit within, several hours. A residential permit, it usually is fairly quick in our review, and I try and touch base with either you or John or Bruce to see if we've had any glitches. And as far as what we've been seeing, it's a bit slower during this pandemic, but the work is still going on. My guys are doing their inspections. The trades are doing their filings, so we continue to keep moving on.
Very good. And like I said,
I haven't heard anything from anybody on y'all's end with regard to any technical issues. So I'm hoping we can keep it up. And you always have access to me. And I do miss all of you guys. And I hope that everyone is staying safe and that we get to go back on a Tuesday to our regular meeting ground.
I know. And I know if something was going wrong, you would hear from it first because, they're not afraid to tell you what's going on.
Absolutely not. And anytime I can assist, I will. You have any questions?
I think, we're good right now. Like I said, I haven't heard anything from my folks. So we're good. And again, thank you for all your hard work in running your department.
No problem. Anytime. Y'all have a great one and stay safe.
Thank you, Aimee.
So Evan, as I listen to Aimee speak, I just want to, I look forward to working with you on a different front. I'll say this, I feel like we were a new administration and a new council came in. We were only 9 weeks in. So the first week you're moving into your office, and then we were hit with a weather event on that first weekend. And of course we got into Mardi Gras, and then, I was just going to come back from Mardi Gras and have a detailed director by director meeting with everyone of where do you see the next 4 years and where, so listening to Aimee, it just reminds us that we just got hit with this so early.
Right.
And it's been nothing but Corona ever since, but I certainly look forward to working with your organization because I can't wait to work on different issues. I feel like, our mode for our team here, we've just been playing defense on this coronavirus issue, just nonstop. And I personally can't look forward to playing offense again, which is doing those things just like with your organization to grow our economy, to create a great business environment, to create a great place for people to move to Jefferson Parish, for our families here, for all the quality of life issues. And so it's good and refreshing to have a meeting to at least talk a little bit about not coronavirus, but,
Right.
a look ahead of, the day that we can do something different. And certainly your organization is very key to that, to our economy, to the growth. That is certainly a concern that we have in Jefferson Parish is how are we going to rebound from this? How quickly can we rebound from this? I think everybody's a little bit scared. And I think as the virus stops growing so much and starts getting lower and lower, I think the economy will come back. And certainly we want to stay in touch with you to see what you're seeing on your end from that perspective. But I know everybody's at home and everybody's seeing everything that needs to be done at their home. And so hopefully that helps your industry because people want, all I'm hearing about is people wanting to renovate and do things like that, because they've been home and hearing all the little problems because they're at a stay-at-home order.
It's
hopefully
funny.
that helps our industry.
We had our chief economist in DC do a webinar with us, and he said that we should either expect a baby boom or a lot of divorces, and that's really going to push home buying growth. So we're looking forward to that. And I know this has all been a baptism by fire with you and your staff, but this is in the end going to make you all more battle-tested servants and leaders, and we're absolutely looking forward to working with you all once this all settles down and we can start getting back on offense again. So we're same here, looking forward to it. I do have to ask you though, what are you most looking forward to going back to? I mean, like movies, a hair salon. Is there anything in particular that you just itching to get back into?
It's just meeting like my best friend. I haven't seen her and I've really been just coming to work and going out in the community where I have to, but I don't, I miss hugging my mom. It's just the simple things. I don't even, because I'm out so much. I think even though I live at home with, my kids, I feel like I'm a potential to be very exposed. So even my kids, I don't hug them like I really don't, because I'm afraid I'll bring it to them and then they have a greater chance of giving it to my mother. So I'm very, very cautious in my personal life. And so I miss those personal things like that. Seeing my best friend and going to her house and seeing her kids. And I miss shopping, I miss just, the downtime of just going, stopping in a store and just taking my time and browsing around. So we look forward to getting back to all of those things again.
Very good. I know I miss the hugs and just the personal touch, man. It's just our culture here. So hopefully we'll get back to that relatively soon. But in the meantime, Cynthia, thank you so much for participating today and giving us an update. We truly value you. as a leader and a friend, and Aimee, likewise with you. Thank you for all that you've been doing. And if there's anything we can do on our end, we'd be happy to help. And yeah, that really wraps it up for me.
Thank you, Evan. And we look forward to, recouping our losses right here and getting on a stronger footing as we come out of this thing. And we look forward to your partnership.
Thank y'all so much. Okay, Aimee and Cynthia, y'all stay safe and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you, Evan.
Thank y'all. Bye.